There are precious few ways to measure manhood.
That's right. Like when you hear of a man who stared down a water buffalo in the Laotian wilderness.
Oh, that's a man.
That's a man.
Uh-huh,
That
yeah.
is a man.
Or when your deeds to the less fortunate and, your accolades precede you.
That's right. That's a man.
That's a man.
That's a man, no doubt.
And wiring and setting up your sweet pedalboard, what's that?
That's a man.
It's the mark of a man.
Yeah. The patience that it takes.
It's the craft.
Oh, man.
The craftsmanship.
That's right.
That's why I brought in the doctor.
Dr.
The pedal
Mitchell.
doctor
That's
right here to
That's
help me out with this.
Yeah.
The gracious people of Warwick
That's right.
have donated a rockboard to the cause.
It's beautiful.
Okay, and we're gonna rig this up in the manliest way possible. Can talk a little bit about the order of effects, what you need to do, everything. We're gonna do this just with the screwdriver, some Velcro.
That's right. So
then
we got a screwdriver,
Velcro,
scissors, Velcro.
with large manhood between us.
That's right.
And I feel like my pedalboard itself is not hipster enough.
Yeah, it's really not.
These are kind of mainstream
kind of
pedals for the most part.
Yeah.
So to compensate for that, I'm drinking homemade cold brew out of a Moscow Mule copper mug.
And I have a thrift store purchased floral pattern for my,
Believe my grandmother.
They don't
picked
even
that
make
up.
these anymore.
Yeah. No, they don't. Those are vintage. Those are like those one-off pedals. That's very, very appropriate.
Yeah, and actually the plastic, they had less regulations back then, so you can really taste.
You can.
It's an experience.
That's right. It's like tasting a time.
That's
So how do you set up a pedalboard? I got all these pedals
right
that I've created.
Well, so the first thing we did, we sat down and we pulled aside the must, right? You said you got to have your compressor.
I need a compressor.
You got to have your clean boost, right?
Yeah.
And then we went through, well, you wanted your cathedral, and you wanted your looper,
Need it.
Right? We couldn't decide on which of these delays, so we decided to have two.
Stack
them.
Uh-huh.
So that's cool. Or you can, even if you don't stack them, this could be for your rhythm and this could be for your lead, It opens up possibilities.
That's why I brought the doctor in.
Right.
I don't even think of this stuff.
So what's really interesting is that your pedal chain doesn't always have to be the order that you put your pedals on. So that's what we're doing here to optimize space on the board. We're starting with the compressor because you want your signal to be
This is where it begins.
Right, yeah.
Again, don't get caught in the box of thinking I have to do this in an order.
Right.
Rigid. We think outside the box here.
Especially if you're going to have a buffer pedal or if you're going to have a pedal that's always on. Like Sean always has his clean boost on. So, he doesn't really need to worry about the cable length so much. So in this case, we're actually moving from, and we'll talk about the logistics behind this later, but the idea is we're moving from here, we're moving to the clean boost, then we're moving to the micropog, which is a pitch shifter. We have phaser, which is a filter-based effect. Even though it moves on a time, it's opening and closing a filter, so it's not a time-based effect like a delay. We have chorus, which is probably the fastest time-based effect that there is.
Yep.
Right? And then we're moving from our modulation section to our dirt section. We got the eruptor.
And it's dirty.
For just those, that's right, for those moments. We have the fuzz factory when you want to scream, and we have the trusty palisades for some distortion. I might actually put the palisades before these sometimes, but because of the way the pedal board, I would just put them there. And we have our whammy, volume pedal, tremolo, and then our delays, our reverb, and then our looper. So we've actually made the most out of this space. If we had tried to do this linearly, we couldn't fit all this.
No, for sure.
Right.
Some stuff still didn't make the cut.
That's right.
These are the chosen few that will lead Los Jefes Riffes into the future.
That's right.
Now my question, not my question, but from the mind of a novice.
Okay.
Why is my volume pedal not at the beginning of the chain?
So it's all of this is subjective anyways, right? Like you may want to have a delay pedal before your fuzz so that the repeats are dirty.
Fuzzy
right?
repeats, yeah.
So in this case, we chose to put the volume pedal right in the middle. And the reason is because we can back off, so we can create feedback with our dirt, or we can create like some self-oscillation with the modulation and the fuzz, and we can back off of that and then swell in and out, right? So you kind of can control feedback through the amp and stuff. The other additional benefit is that with this being your delay and your reverb, this is your space creating section. So as you back away, you still get the trails and like the end of your repeat. So if this were at the very end of your chain, it would silence everything. So then the reverb decay would not sound organic, right? Which you might want that. That's fine. If you put it all the way in the beginning, which is what my friend Gabe does actually, and that's because he likes to swell into his dirt, because effectively you're cutting back the signal. So then you can turn a really heavy dirt. If you have this kind of halfway rocked back, then now it's more of like a mild overdrive, and then for leads you can dig into it. So for our purposes, we put it in the middle, but it really has a place anywhere.
And especially if you use the volume knob on your guitar, that's essentially having this first and having it in the middle. So options, versatility.
That's right. And then of course we put the tremolo. This was more of a logistics thing. The tremolo, truly, we might have put before this, but it's irrelevant. We wanted this after everything, but before our delay and reverb. That way the effects are all cut in and out with the tremolo, but again, we get that natural decay of the reverb and things like that.
Cool. So we've got it laid out.
That's right.
We have it in a way where the input and output jacks are somewhat efficient.
Right.
You know, where it's running in the way we want to do it. And then what's the next step?
Well, the next step was to determine if we can power all this, right?
Yes.
So we had to look, and we found that the Digitech Whammy had a proprietary 9.6 volt, 200 milliamp power supply.
I'll link you to a video on how to read power supplies.
Oh, that's right. We did one.
Just kind of save time. So there you go. So we've got everything powered, good to go. We're going to mount a power supply to the bottom of the board.
We're going to mount a power supply. Yeah. And so that's where we're going to go now. As we have everything laid out, we know we can power it all. Now we're going to put Velcro down. So we're going to take everything off. I'm going to take a picture with my phone so that I remember what I did.
Excellent.
And then
make a precious memory.
That's right.
One awesome thing about this too is they have these patch bay things that you can build right into the board.
Yeah.
They're super reasonable. Now, why might you need them? There's a couple different reasons, but I think the best thing is you can actually take the power and then just go right into the mounted power supply from underneath instead of having to like plug into the bottom of your board.
That's awesome. And then the other cool thing is that, like, you know, so we're going to do Sean's board in stereo, but he may not always want to use it in stereo. So he's got A and B, and he knows if he just does A, it'll be mono. And then in the opportunity, you have B. You could also do like an A-B-Y switch. You could mount an A-B-Y switch to the bottom of your board and have A-B left or mono, B be right or stereo, and then C could be direct in. So this C could go right into your audio interface.
Okay.
So now you have amp number 1, amp number 2, and then direct in. So when you record, you have 3 sources to pull your data from.
I had never even thought of that. That's amazing.
Or even if you're playing live, you know, you could send one of them to the front of the house for like direct through the PA or whatever the case may be. Also, you have XLR. Now, again, you would have to have an ABY switch that would connect via XLR to this. So it would take all your pedal
That's
board.
just like another. Is that like another pedal? The switch, or is that just cable?
It's like an enclosure like this.
Okay.
And you would basically be able to split it. And I only say that because no pedals have 5 inputs. You would have to have something that, or you might have pedals on your board like with this. You might have your dirt section come here and your reverb come here, and then what you're able to do is put your dirt and modulation in front of your amp, and then you're able to send your delay and your reverb into the effects loop of your amp.
Okay.
Right. So, anyways, just a lot of cool things that you. This is a very creative box here. What you're capable of doing with that.
Awesome.
So,
all right.
So moving forward. So before we actually do the Velcro, we're gonna cut lengths and see how much we actually have.
Okay.
You know, because our idea is to Velcro every one of these sections with this. Do you want to cut? I'll measure it.
Sure. Let's take the back off and then just stick it across the length of the thing.
So what I like to do is I like to peel just a little bit off like this.
Okay.
And then I like to place that down where I know it's going to be right in between, and then I slowly peel it and press it at the same time.
This is why we need Justin here, because I don't do things well.
Yeah, when we started this, I was like, Sean was like, I don't think we're going to need any tools. I was like, we got to have a tape measure. He's like, for what?
Tape measure?
Which we still aren't using because, you know, but then we realized we're just excellent.
But you're the craftsman.
So, as a general rule, when you put Velcro on, and, you know, this isn't necessarily always the case, But when you stick something on it, you want to avoid pulling it off for about 24 hours. So we can put our pedals on, but we don't actually want to. I'm cutting off some of the excess here. We don't actually want to put stress by pushing and pulling it off. So for now, we're going to do every other one, and then we'll see if we, if we need to use.
Look at that. Who cut these?
Sean Daniels.
Yes.
So, let's talk about some of the benefits of having a pedal board versus having all your pedals on the floor, and why it's so beneficial to have this with the Rockmod 1 on the back.
Okay. Tell me.
So first
Tell
of all,
me.
You show up. First of all, it comes with an awesome case, which Sean's probably going to post some videos of. So you have.
That's right. I got the flight case. They also have a soft shell one.
Right. So your pedals are safe, and not only are your pedals safe, but they're easy to carry. So you show up to the gig, and because this is what I used to do when I played live, I loved it. I had my case, and I put it on the ground, and I plugged in my amp, I plugged in my pedal board, and everything was good to go. You don't have to worry about like some weird sound not working, or I'm sorry, like some buzz happening, or one of your pedals not working, or anything like that. You don't have to be concerned with any of that because everything's all set up. It's easy to carry. Everything's powered in an isolated way, so you're still going to get these instances where you have like noise from whatever neon signs at the bar, or the poor wiring at the church you're playing at, or wherever it is that you wherever you get down. I don't judge. I've seen a lot of guitar players where it's like, yeah, they were good, like they could play, but then you look at their board and you're like, oh, you're not legit.
It's like what?
What's wrong with you?
It's like that's your board, bro.
That's like.
It's not even a board.
You probably barely went into $4,000 a debt for that thing.
Yeah, it's like a
come on,
slab.
man. Jeez.
You're gonna slab your pedals on there like it's like an animal.
That's what I'm saying. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. Honestly,
No,
I'm getting frustrated.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Let's.
Also, a benefit of having these flat patch cables is like kind of key.
Right. You can
I'll
get
put
them
it on
so,
the screen. Yeah.
You can get them so close together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of like having a guitar cable where you just kind of plug.
Right. Yeah. These are gonna be great. So.
Look at that.
This is gonna be just fine.
Oh.
Okay. So that's the first one. So we're gonna put some Velcro on the back of that because it doesn't have it.
This is really the christening for a pedal, a rite of passage, getting the Velcro backing.
That's right. That means it's probably not going on the used market right away.
No.
If you've had it,
you made the cut.
That's right. It's gonna be, vertical like this.
Right.
I did like a long way that way.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is going right corner.
That's right. Yep. Next, we got to drop our pog down because
Nice.
of this. So Sean, what are we gonna do after we get all the pedals Velcroed?
We're gonna start connecting them.
That's right. So the reason we connect them is before we do all the power supplies, just to make sure, like, are there any, like, constraints to what we've proposed? Can
Right.
everything reach? And then after that, we'll power everything.
All right. So first problem that we've encountered is when you take the footies off of the Ernie Ball tremolo, the screws actually don't fit. So it got cut. And we're going with the Dynatrem.
We could check the box to see if they
There's, like,
provide
extra screws.
alternative screws, but
I think that's probably doubtful, to be honest.
Right. So now we're doing the Dynatrem, which is just fine. How are we gonna connect this Neoclone to the Fuzz Factory?
How can we get from here to here? Some would say impossible.
Oh my
Justin,
gosh.
what's happening? Oh my gosh.
It's the greatest.
From beneath.
The greatest patch cable
the
ever.
Rockboard.
Look at
And
that
then
versatility, man.
Boom. In there.
And then what's even cooler is, I wonder, can we get a shot under the board? Here, they've got these spaces that you can move the pedals through, the patch cables through, so that the pylons, you can use a shorter cable than you might normally have to because you can cut directly through, So it saves space and it also saves cable length.
And you can use smaller cables than you have to.
That's right. And so now I just have to figure out which one of these I'm going to pop out of. Oh, see? So actually we can come right through the middle here of this column.
Look at that.
And then up.
It's like tremors. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Sandworms.
Yeah, it is. And so for this one, we'll come out like that.
Oh.
Or, see, this is what's so great about the Rockboard is this versatility right here. It would actually be better if we came
Through that? No, you're not telling me. You're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
go through that space.
Coming up and back,
come
baby.
Up? No. Oh
And see,
my gosh.
now there's less stress on the. So you have to consider the stress on the input jack and the stress of the cable. You don't want them to be too twisted and under pressure for so long. So now, I mean, we got that. We just keep
Somewhere
moving on.
Zachary Vex is smiling.
Oh yeah,
You know.
no doubt. And see, you know, this one we can come. Yeah, this is excellent.
Look at these pedals. 3 inches gets you that. What?
These are amazing.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
these are my favorite patch cables I think I've ever used.
Boom.
Board's
wired.
Board's wired.
Here it is. Looking good.
So we had to make some decisions about where things are because of the length of a patch cable or how things are going to plug in, but this is your board. So logistically, you know, the only thing that I see is that this tap tempo for the phaser might be kind of tricky to hit. So,
You know, my phaser tap tempo game is not really on point right now anyway.
right, I was going to say,
So-
you know, so, and you know, other than that, it looks good. So we can always slide this over, make some room.
Yeah.
But so now what we're going to do, we got everything Velcroed, we got everything wired up. Now we're going to start putting our power supplies in. So for right now, we're not even going to be worried about plugging the pedals in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to
Just plugging them up and then feeding it through.
just
right?
that's all we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm plugging this in to the patch bay. We've already plugged everything into the power supply underneath. So now things are starting to light up. Now we just got to do every single thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was already on actually.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everything is lighting up.
We did it.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
think the next thing is to see if it sounds.
That's right. Yeah. So let's plug it in.
Eventually, you could plug a guitar into one of these.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
Supposedly.
So, but look, I mean, how long does this take? Maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, sure. It's, you know.
And look at all the time we saved.
And that's why, I mean, Justin Mitchell is the man. Look how clean this is. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you know, there are some things where we know we might change that to a right angle or something, you know, but overall, like, your pedal board is set up. You know, you've got a board now.
Not just a board. The board. A man's board.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm finally a
Yeah.
man. My man is complete.
It's beautiful.
I don't even need to plug it in. But I guess you should.
No, you really shouldn't plug it in because, like, you really want the ambiguity of, like, whether or not you can live up to this,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a lot of pressure having a pedal board like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is specifically for flexing purposes.
Yeah, no one really uses the Digitech whammy.
No.
In fact, the thing about the whammy is it's like, kind of like I was saying before, it's like the player I want to be versus the player that I am.
That's right.
And like the player I want to be definitely uses a Digitech whammy.
Yeah, that's right.
The player I am, I don't know.
Well,
Who's to say?
Well, let's say we get this plugged in and then we shoot a clip of just seeing if the sound goes through.
All right, everything is plugged in and it works. Justin, the man, the doctor, right there. So there we go. Special thanks to Warwick for setting up the Rockboard. Pretty happy with it. Now I'm really just gonna play through this pedal board on the clean channel setting on my amp, and that's pretty much it. All right.